Auburn Blitz is now on the air. Your daily look into what's happening in Auburn athletics. With your host, Andy Graham, Brett Pritchard, Randy Lee, War Eagle.
Good Tuesday afternoon. Welcome into the Auburn Blitz. From 12 to 1 today, we'll take your phone calls. 256-234-6221. Faith and Brett on the road today, over there in the practice facility checking out what's going on with Auburn. So we'll try to catch up with them and get some updates coming from there, Jim, and maybe you and I will talk about that. But more importantly, we'll talk about anything on your mind out there when it comes to Auburn athletics. Glad to step in for Andy. Quick little break. Nothing wrong with Andy. Andy will be back as soon as we can get him back up here. But brief doctor's appointment, and we'll have him back hopefully tomorrow. But glad to be here with you, Jim.
Yeah.
Been a couple of weeks. Been a good couple of weeks for Auburn athletics, I would say. You and I have always had a passion for baseball. We played a lot of baseball together growing up. It is a darn good Auburn baseball team. Couldn't come away with a series win this past weekend, but glad we got away with one of them. Pitched it well again, but it's going to be difficult. It's year in and year out. The SEC and how hard this league is. You got to be able to win those close games to stay in it, and thank the Lord we got away with one on Friday night.
Well, that's what I told Andy. We were kind of discussing more the upper echelon of teams we thought were going to the College World Series, and that Texas team is built that way. And you were in 2 out of the 3 games with them, so that should show you the trajectory of this Auburn team right now. They've got a position there. We could make a run at this thing.
Well, you know, and kept us in the game all weekend, pitching the ball.
Yeah.
But we really struggled hitting baseball, and got it together in that Friday night win, winning 4-3. Holding them down to the 3 runs on the 2 home runs was key. Moving into Saturday game, winnable game for Auburn.
Yeah.
Wish you to come away with that one, lose that one 7-6, and then going into Sunday lose that one 5-0. Still pitching it. You know, I think that's the way that this team is built. Going to have to find some power numbers as we get into SEC play because these bats have juiced back up. It's not 7 or 8 years ago where those BB cores had dulled things down to the level where you weren't seeing the big-time 15 to 20 home run guys. No, you're seeing that now, and that's going to continue if you look at the stats so far early in the season. But I'd rather be built with pitching. I've always felt that if you can be built with pitching and you're going to keep yourself in all the games, the bats will come around at some point. And I think our talent is there with the hitters and just ran up against a buzzsaw on Sunday.
Yeah, I mean, and you brought up Saturday. I watched all of Friday night, most of Saturday's, and some of Sunday's game. And Saturday, they were there. I mean, they were there, guys standing on the plate with a chance to win the ball game and just grounded out to third. And, I mean, if that ball goes through the gap, you know, Auburn's picked that one up. So, I mean, they're there to me, and I agree with you what you're saying on the pitching, especially our Friday night starter is as good as anybody in the country.
Hey, and that, when you can get the weekend started off with a win, we've always said that, when you get into the weekend with a win and need just one more to take the series, then that's a big, big thing. Just looking at some of these stats with the hitting totals for Auburn this weekend, got 10 hits on Saturday. So not a bad outing there and picking up the 6 runs, but only 4 hits on Sunday. And the number 2 ranked Texas team, you kind of expected that, but you know, you got to be able to win the close ones, but it could have been a lot worse. If Auburn doesn't get that single up the middle and the ball go between his legs and it gets into extra innings maybe, and you could have gone away with the sweep, whereas picking up that one win, and I know that Saturday could have gone either way too, but you feel like you were 50-50 there. And then, you know, when you lose 5-0 on Sunday, they deserve to win the series when they close one out like that.
Sure. Well, and Andy and I brought it up yesterday. The guy that actually hit the ball that went between his legs, he hit 2, I think, if not 3 home runs in the weekend. But in his second one he hit on Friday, he was pointing the finger at everybody coming around the bases and, you know, almost arrogantly taunting, like, hey, I hit this, and everybody look at me. Yeah. And then he had the ball go between his legs. Usually comes back around on you a little bit if you talk too much.
Well, Jim, it was an amazing crowd. this weekend.
Oh, yeah, they said it set every record in Auburn baseball history over the course of the weekend, more in attendance than history.
No, and you look at the parking deck.
Yeah.
And I know that those numbers aren't going into the overall, but it is adding to the atmosphere that is Auburn baseball right now. And just your thoughts. I mean, we do support a winner. Mm-hmm. This is a top 5 program, and this is what Auburn does. You know, put a winning product out there. I don't care if it's softball, women's basketball. We're going to find a way into those gyms and onto the court and to support whoever is putting a winning product out there for Auburn. And this baseball team is kind of what we've gravitated to this year, Jim.
Well, I mean, I know the man personally, but I can't imagine a greater person coaching our guys than Butch Thompson. And you're around him for 5 minutes and you love the guy. You believe in what he's selling you. Like you said, you can believe he's sold on a lot of things, but then he's actually putting the product on the field and you're seeing it. And I mean, within a week, we've played Georgia Tech was in the top 5. You played Texas at all this. You're fixing to go through a loaded SEC, and I just about bet you all that's sold out. It's going to be hard to get seats over there.
Well, and that's a great thing. You know, it's kind of like the basketball product that Auburn's put out there under Bruce Pearl, and it's getting a little better in this NIT run. And I know that Auburn's a much better team than we've seen, but still defensively we didn't look good the other night. But I like that we're winning, and we're seeing some pieces that we were head-scratching about earlier in the year on where are they. We're starting to see them out on the court, and we'll talk about that. But let's run down this baseball schedule real quick. South Alabama tonight, 6 o'clock, Riverwalk Stadium. Yeah. Should be a great, great crowd there. It's always a good South Alabama program.
Let me give you a little interesting stat on them this year. They've beat UAB 11-1. They've beat Alabama 7-3. The only one they got left in the state's us. So they could take us all down tonight.
And these midweek games for programs like UAB, South Alabama, Sanford, Troy, keep going down the list, are huge. They're going to throw good arms at you and know that it's something they can hang their hat on when they're out there in the recruiting. And South Alabama, that's always, as long as I can remember going back to high school and having friends of mine that were recruited by South Alabama and going, oh, man, that's a great opportunity if you can pick that offer up. And
that school and the other one up north, Jacksonville State, is turning a lot of baseball players' heads that I thought would have stayed at Auburn or Alabama, and they're going to Jack State and going to South Alabama.
Well coached, have put a lot of good productive players into the pros from those 2 teams, and some of the best ones that we put in to the MLB is coming out of those 2 programs. And I'm sure that parents and the administrators and the coaches that are steering these kids one way or another can see that, and it is helping them win some of those battles in state. We'll talk about some of those as we get into recruiting in a little bit. 327, 28, 29 got Alabama this weekend. SEC Network Plus for all of those, and then you come back to next week, you got Georgia Tech again, and then into Arkansas. I mean, there is just no rest for the weary. If you don't have a very, very good baseball team, you can go through a stretch like this where you lose a number of games and start worrying. But that's just year in and year out what you're dealing with playing in the SEC.
Yeah, we brought it up yesterday trying to project the wins part of it, and we think we need 16 wins in the SEC itself to get you one of those top seeds, in the tournament. And we've already started with 4. You got 3 from Missouri and now 1 from Texas. So, I mean, I think we can pick up 12 wins the rest of the way.
And looking at Alabama so far early in the season, they've been not to the level that we've been this year, but
they just jumped on Florida this last weekend.
They did.
Got them.
As I was about to say, heading into SEC play, but that's the funny thing about baseball is you get those hot bats, and they got one of the best shorts in the game.
And then a kid last Friday night threw a no-hitter for them.
Yeah, so we know how talented this Alabama team can be, and it's a rivalry series like no other, and so Auburn, I'm sure, will be amped up for this series and needing to get back on the winning side of things in SEC play after losing 2 of 3 against Texas. And my gosh, like I just said, when you're going to continue to have midweek games against Georgia Tech, who is a top 10 program nationally and swings the bats the way that they do, and I was very happy with the way that we played them this past week, but you got to go do the same thing with them and then head into Arkansas, who, if there's a better program over the last 5 years than Arkansas. I know they don't quite get over the hump, but, buddy, they year in and year out have got one of the top 3 programs in the SEC, which is saying a mouthful.
Yeah. No, I mean, we were bringing it up yesterday as well. There's like 9 think it's 9 teams of the 16 in the SEC right now are tied at 4-2 in the league. So they're all right there together.
All right there together, and we'll continue here on Auburn Blitz to cover that baseball program. But before we head to this second segment of the show, I just wanted to jump into basketball real quick. Just your overall thoughts. I don't want to get into numbers with Seattle the other night, but your overall thoughts, because we haven't had a talk since the SEC tournament. You and I haven't been on together. Your feel with the direction in first year for Stephen Pearl, some of the players, and we'll come back after this first break and talk about it.
Yeah, I brought it up last week with Andy. Is this whole situation that we're in Bruce's fault? And then that's ignited something with our fan base. Every time me and Andy's been in here and brought up basketball, everybody's on Stephen Pearl now. Is he the guy? Can he finish the job? There's a lot of them already sold their stock on him and say they're done. I mean, me personally, he got put in a bad spot. This is not the guy. It's his dad's guys. It's not his guys. He looks like he's developing, some of these guys as we go along. But as he's freely admitted in a press conference, we can't play defense. So he's got to change the culture to fit what he wants. But I'm not so sure, because of the way this year went, he's going to have a long leash to do that. I think he may have next year to show some definite changes, or there's going to be some change with him.
Well, and quickly, when you give up 16 made threes against a team that I don't think hardly ever gets into double digits, that's a head scratcher. And I thought it was great to hear from him that he owned it and said we're just not a good defensive team. And I think all of us Auburn fans would agree with that. But we do see some production coming from some players that we haven't seen earlier in the year, and Caden Magwood being one of those. And hopefully we'll get some continued minutes from him.
Now that was something I brought up to Andy, and I'll bring it up to you as well. Being a non-basketball guy as much, I didn't grow up in it. I played it a little bit in like City League, but I didn't play no college, nothing like that. But do you consider this NIT an extension, almost like having a spring football game? This is just more time for these young kids to play, more time in Stephen's system. Is this an interview for them, for Stephen to go, hey, okay, Magwood, I want to keep you, or, hey, I'm going in the portal looking for some other folks?
That's a good question you have, and I'll talk about it on the other side. But get your phone calls together, 256-234-6221 here on the Auburn Blitz.
Hi, this is Brian Bice with Bice Motors. With our all-star lineup of Dodge trucks, Jeep, SUVs, and Chrysler cars, we offer the area a team dedicated to making your next vehicle purchase a positive experience. Our sales team offers competitive pricing, and we back up all sales with a service department second to none. Bice Motors also offers the area's best selection of pre-owned vehicles. Visit Bice Motors at 2133 Cherokee Road in Alexander City.
Guaranteed lowest price. Buy it at Bice Motors.
L&M Pawn and Gun, located in the USA Factory Stores in Opelika, is East Alabama and West Georgia's complete gun, tactical, and pawn shop. It invites the region to shop over 500 firearms in stock, on the floor, and ready for sale at the market's best values. At L&M Pawn and Gun, we specialize in all tactical guns, equipment, and parts, including AK-47 and AR-15s. Specialized parts for tactical guns, as well as suppressors and other parts you can't find anywhere. L&M Pawn and Gun has it all in the USA Factory Stores in Opelika, or shop online, lmpawnandgun.com.
This is Kathy Holmes with Pepper Tree Steaks and Wine. Jeff Verner and I opened in East Montgomery 25 years ago and have become the premier butcher shop, wine retailer, and caterer in the River region. We are excited to invite you to our newest location at 2459 East Glen Avenue in Auburn, Opelika. We want to become your one-stop shop for the freshest cuts of meat in town, grab-and-go casseroles, gift items, and the best wine selection in the area. Think of us when catering your next event. Check us out online at steaksandwine.com for daily lunch specials and details on upcoming wine tastings and fun events.
Looking for hometown service and name brands you can trust? Come to Presley Appliance and Furniture. From the best choice in appliances from Whirlpool, Maytag, Amana, and KitchenAid to home furnishings, Presley's is your one-stop shop for comfort and quality. And now we've added the Mattress Shop by Serta Simmons Bedding and top quality sheets and pillows from Caraloha. Shop Presley Appliance and Furniture on Cherokee Road in Alex City or online at PresleyAppliance.com. That's PresleyAppliance.com.
there's only one option for top-of-the-line aftermarket upgrades on your vehicle, and that's Frontline Outfitters. We offer quality parts, lift kits, custom wheels and tires, bed covers, step bars, and toolboxes that are installed by trained and skilled professionals, to custom powder coating with hundreds of colors and finishes, to the highest quality film for window tinting using state-of-the-art film cutting technology. Call Frontline Outfitters at 256-409-8100. Don't be in the back of the line. Put your vehicle at the front with Frontline Outfitters.
Looking for the perfect spot to unwind? Welcome to Bunkers. Our friendly staff and vibrant atmosphere make Bunkers the ultimate hangout space for all ages. With 6 state-of-the-art golf simulator stations, you can play around with friends no matter the weather. Enjoy mouth-watering food and a wide variety of handcrafted mixed drinks. With our attached parking deck, access is always hassle-free. Make your next night out unforgettable at Bunkers.
Hillaby Towers is an affordable senior citizens community located in Alexander City on Highway 22 East. Spacious one-bedrooms are available now. Great location, peaceful setting, comfortable living where pets are allowed and utilities are included. Call today to find out more information on Alexander City's best-kept secret, 256-329-0552. That's Hillaby Towers in Alexander City.
Visit our new locations in Gadsden and Oxford today.
Going on right now at Glenn Smith and Opelika.
Both Chevy Silverado and Traverse are ready for you. Get supplier pricing today on all new Chevy Silverado 1500s with up to $13,500 off. Or get a loaded Traverse, the roomy Chevy SUV with third row seating, and enjoy up to $6,000 off.
Buy today and make no payments for 120 days.
Smart people from all over the USA buy from Glenn Smith Chevrolet.
Get ready to smile.
Back into the Auburn Blitz. Our phone lines are open the entire hour of the show today, 256-234-6221. Love to hear from you out there. I've seen a number of calls that y'all have been getting. And just to go back to your question as we head into that first break about some of these guys for Auburn, if they're auditioning for the money that it's going to take to keep them around. Let's put it that way. Because every year it's going to be a budgeting issue on who you want to keep and who you don't. And if you do keep them and they have no leverage because you don't necessarily care whether they go, then of course there's no extra money for them to have there. So I'll start with the one that I brought up a little bit earlier, and that's Caden Magwood. Mm-hmm. It's a need position. It was a need position coming into this year. Tahad, does he end up going to the pros? Maybe. I don't see it.
Well, what's the number in your mind that keeps him?
Probably whatever kept him this year.
So if he's getting,
I'm guessing he's getting $1.5 million too. Okay, that'd be my guess for Tahad that has been around. If I'm off, I'm sorry. I don't have the number in front, but
let's just say $1 million to be on the safe side. If you gave him $1 million, did he give you $1 million of production this year?
Well, somebody's got, yeah.
Because you got to. I mean, you of all people know business numbers, and if you're going to lay that group out and say Kevin Hall got this, Magwood got this, Pettiford got this. Well, if my top two guys are Pettiford and Hall, and they both got $1 million apiece, did I get that out of them?
Well, I think so. Yeah. Does it mean that they had the other pieces around them to get to a championship caliber? Was there moments where we all wish that we were getting more in certain instances from Tahad Pettiford? But, I mean, my gosh, he had over 20 in eight out of the last 10 games.
Yeah. He just had a slow start.
Had a slow start, but he got it back together. And is he a point guard in the pros? I think he's more of a two mentally. I think can get on a roll and can shoot the ball from the perimeter and can make
Is that
circus shots. And
if you're him, is that a selling point that if I'm Steven, I come to you next year and go, okay, hey, look, Todd, I'm going to officially make you the number 2, and we're going to go spend $2 million out in the portal and get us a true point?
Well, it's where I was going with Magwood.
Yeah.
You know, if Magwood's not your answer there, and he's not going to be a part of truly building a starting lineup around Tahad and KO and some others that we're hoping to retain, then yes, and I think that's where I'd go spend my money, and I think that's what Auburn will do. So I'm happy that Magwood's getting minutes, and we're able to see what we had hoped that we'd see when he came out of high school as a top 40 prospect in the country and a high 4-star guy that Auburn was lucky to have. And looking at the way that he shot the ball in preseason from the perimeter, you kind of expected that to carry over as the season moved in for whatever reason. I'm not saying he played well enough to deserve more minutes, but my biggest argument overall is if that guy that I'm seeing out on the court wasn't good enough to give you 6 or 8 minutes in the SEC, then there's something that happened behind the scenes that we're not being told, because even if he had one bad outing, he's got enough talent there that you want to keep throwing him back out there with the hopes that you get a good outing, Jim. So, yeah, if it's solely for that player and a few others to see what the decision is moving forward with how we're going to spend this budget on this roster next year, then I think NIT is going to be worth it.
Yeah. Well, and that's what I brought up to Andy, because the way I view it, looking from the outside in, is they're purposely putting some of these guys that hadn't got the minutes on the floor to see what they can do.
Yeah, and you've got Murph that decided not to play, and
that's an odd one.
That's a really odd situation all the way around there. I don't necessarily understand the reasoning, but what did that do? It gave Jovic more of a chance to get in there and be more of a key piece. It's given Sway more of a chance to get a few more minutes and to play well, which he did in this game against Seattle, where he had 15 points and really played, I thought skill-wise as good as I've seen him on the offensive end in quite some time. And Freeman had those 19 points that he ended with really early in the ballgame.
Now, if this was, back to the Jovic while it's on my mind, if we went overseas and got him, or maybe, that was Bruce that went in there trying to do that, and I know Steven's involved. Do you see Steven going more overseas and staying on the States this time with his team?
It depends on the quality of the player. I'm watching Iowa play the other night. I'd definitely like to have that guy.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
That shot from the perimeter. So I think it all is relative to who the option is. The biggest problem, and this has been my argument on the football side when it comes to recruiting, say, a high school quarterback. You just can't have dead money.
Right.
And with the basketball program, I have no clue what we paid Magwood. None. But I know he's a big-time recruit. Somebody's willing to leverage him to be worth good money, I would think.
So he probably got half at least.
That's just speculation, but I can't imagine that you go and get a top 40 high school kid and he doesn't get that.
Right.
Let's put it that way. He gave you no minutes in SEC play, outside of here and there. Very, very few minutes. It's dead money.
But
Back
I guess
to my high school quarterback deal. Are you willing to put a lot of money out there to develop him that potentially he could do like Deuce and do like, Walker White and these others that we've seen? After a year or two, he takes the money that we give, gets developed up at Auburn, then heads on. And he may never star anywhere, but he's definitely not going to star at Auburn. So I'm glad it's not me making these decisions, Jim.
Well, but the other side of that argument is as well, can you find, just say basketball, if we're trying to make a 10-man roster, can you get all 10 paid right and get them all productive? Because you're at some point out of those 10, you're going to have some dead money if you don't figure it out.
Here's what Bruce was so good with this, with Steven and this coaching staff together and development. And, we always like to mention Ira Bowman's the reason that the Chaney Johnsons and the Dylan Cardwells and all of these guys, the Miles Kellys, they were all good players, but he made them a lot better players.
Sure.
So you retained all of that along with Steven. It's not like you just went out there and hired Steven, who was his son, and didn't keep the entire staff around him. I think one of the biggest things here in this whole, and I don't hear it getting discussed as much, is that he did retain this entire staff with him. My point being is we've done an amazing job over the years. Yeah, one may not, like Westry may not pan out. A Pegues may not pan out. Zep Jasper may not pan out to the level that you'd hope that he'd pan out to, but for the most part,
yeah,
we've been able to build depth.
You're saying you could deal with 1 out of 10 dead money, but if you had 4 out of 10,
if you're looking over there and you're really only getting 6 minutes of production, and the next 2 or 3 like Simon Walker and Caden Magwood and others this year giving you none,
right?
Boy, you missed out on.
That's a lot of dead money.
Some decision. That is dead money out there. We're going to take another break here on the Auburn Blitz.
Chick-fil-A is always the best option when you're on the go, but they are also great when it comes to planning your next event, from tailgating to birthday parties to weddings. Call Chick-fil-A Alexander City at 256-289-7955 for catering, or order on the Chick-fil-A app. Make sure to choose the Alexander City location and have your catering order ready to go. Nugget trays, mac and cheese trays, fruit trays, cookie trays, gallons of our famous lemonade or tea, and chilled grilled chicken sub sandwiches, and a lot more options. Make it Chick-fil-A Alexander City for your next event.
For air that's cool and clean, call Sensi Green. For air that's cool and clean, care about the air you breathe, call Sensi Green.
Turn to the experts at Sensigreen and find out how to get up to $1,000 in carry or cool cash rebates. Visit Sensigreen.com today to be worry-free when it comes to your home comfort and indoor air quality.
For air that's cool and clean, care about the air you breathe, call Sensi Green.
Looking for hometown service and name brands you can trust? Come to Presley Appliance and Furniture. From the best choice in appliances from Whirlpool, Maytag, Amana, and KitchenAid to home furnishings, Presley's is your one-stop shop for comfort and quality. And now we've added the Mattress Shop by Serta Simmons Bedding and top quality sheets and pillows from Caraloha. Shop Presley Appliance and Furniture on Cherokee Road in Alex City or online at PresleyAppliance.com. That's PresleyAppliance.com.
There's only one option for top-of-the-line aftermarket upgrades on your vehicle, and that's Frontline Outfitters. We offer quality parts, lift kits, custom wheels and tires, bed covers, step bars, and toolboxes that are installed by trained and skilled professionals, to custom powder coating with hundreds of colors and finishes, to the highest quality film for window tinting using state-of-the-art film cutting technology. Call Frontline Outfitters at 256-409-8100. Don't be in the back of the line. Put your vehicle at the front with Frontline Outfitters.
This is Kathy Holmes with Preparatory Steaks and Wine. Jeff Verner and I opened in East Montgomery 25 years ago and have become the premier butcher shop, wine retailer, and caterer in the River region. We are excited to invite you to our newest location at 2459 East Glen Avenue in Auburn, Opelika. We want to become your one-stop shop for the freshest cuts of meat in town, grab-and-go casseroles, gift items, and the best wine selection in the area. Think of us when catering your next event. Check us out online at steaksandwine.com for daily lunch specials and details on upcoming wine tastings and fun events.
Looking for the perfect spot to unwind? Welcome to Bunkers. Our friendly staff and vibrant atmosphere make Bunkers the ultimate hangout space for all ages. With 6 state-of-the-art golf simulator stations, you can play around with friends no matter the weather. Enjoy mouth-watering food and a wide variety of handcrafted mixed drinks. With our attached parking deck, access is always hassle-free. Make your next night out unforgettable at Bunkers.
Henderson & Coker is a premier custom general contractor located in central Alabama. With over 50 years of industry experience, Henderson & Coker has been crafting stunning custom residential and commercial spaces for families and businesses throughout Alabama and Georgia. If you're in the market for a top-of-the-line luxury home or specialized commercial work, contact the experts at 256-750-7383 and check them out on the web at hendersonandcoker.com.
Join the 43rd Alabama State Games, June 12th through 14th, 2026. Compete in Olympic-style events and support Alabama youth sports. Discover the power of sports. Registration opens March 1st at alagames.com.
Let's jump into Nevada. Auburn's 19-16 on the season. Another win would get you to the 20-win plateau. Mean anything to you, Jim?
I don't know. That's what I told Andy. Is that gonna be a false sense of Stephen can coach? Look at it down the road. When the season ended, he was 17-13 or 17-15, whatever it was. Now he's fixing to pick up another 3 or 4 extra wins on his career. So this season's actually going to look like he was in the 20s versus the losses. So.
Well, yeah, I think that just maintaining an effort out there on the court in the NIT, to me, takes a lot of resolve when it comes to to coaching, because it's very easy for a player to be upset that they don't make the NCAA tournament, especially if you're an Auburn program that was just in the Final Four last year and had been as good as we've been over the last, say, decade. So I give a little credit, tip of the hat that we're playing well. And after that first half of the opening game, we really played well the last 2 games.
And that's why I brought up the part that I did about an audition, because how are you as a coach, just like for me, how am I selling it to these kids? Hey, you didn't make the NCAA tournament, but this is a great opportunity for you to put more on film, for me to be able to see, hey, do I want you to stay here? And also the NBA to look at you and go, hey, maybe we need to take a second look at this guy.
That there's a lot of key players that you could either decide to keep around the program, like we did Dylan Cardwell, and like we did Denver Jones for an extra year after that, like we did Chaney. I mean, there's players that Auburn had that we developed, and it's working out well for them. So we've got a couple there. You got KO, you got Elijah Freeman, you got Sway, Jovic, Magwood, Pettiford. I mean, you look at all of the guys outside of Hall that produced the other night. You got decisions to make on all of those guys, and how important are they? And I like a lot of those pieces. Some of them are really young. Like Sway, I love that piece. I think that him being around Auburn, to me, and you see what Chaney Johnson's doing, man. Chaney Johnson is going to be a decade-plus pro if things keep working out and progressing the way that they are. I mean, he is getting solid minutes in the NBA right now and putting up good numbers, has the body and the style that you need to stay in the league. Dylan Cardwell the same, but he reminds me a lot of Chaney Johnson.
And you know as well as I do, there's kids that need the time to grow up. There's some of them that come in as a 5-star, but they're physically that way. Mentally, they're not. Then you got right the reverse. You got a 3-star that's physically as strong, mentally as strong as anybody. He just ain't, his skill set ain't up to the level of that 5-star. So you got to learn how to blend all that together as well.
Well, and it's the reason I do. I like some of these pieces. And do we have to get better defensively? Of course we do. But this staff, I'm going to keep going back to one thing. I'm going to harp on something. I mean, this staff was retained, all the pieces of the staff. Yeah. Bruce is not there. And you're going to have to be able to sell this program to recruits without Bruce Pearl being there in this next go-around, including selling this program to the guys that we just mentioned that others are going to be after. It's not like there's not going to be other programs that would like to have Sway part of their program.
Well, just like they did when Auburn's football season was over with, they pillaged Auburn's football team to say, hey, look, Hugh Freeze ain't going to win. Now, whoever they're going to hire ain't going to win. We're going to come get you guys. And so speaking of defense, you brought it up on the defense. I'll tell you about Nevada's. They got 2 guys shooting right at 40% from the three-point line. Think that causes a problem?
Of course it does. Especially when Seattle, Andy and I did a show this past week, and the thing that we were concerned maybe the most about with Seattle was defensively. You looked at their numbers, and they were only giving up 66 points per game. Yeah. But that didn't seem to halt Auburn at all. The problem with Auburn right now is, and I don't know that it's effort. It just seems like communication, inability to find open shooters on the outside and make sure that not only are we getting a hand in the face, there's a reason that teams are hitting as many threes and setting records for their season when they're playing Auburn. That's a problem.
Well, as well as I do, defense is an attitude. That's not you got to be balled in to play defense. A lot of guys can shoot the ball, and that's all they want to do is go the other end, shoot the ball. But defense, that's what we got to question Stephen in this moment is you got the kids you got, motivate them to play defense somehow. Get a finger, get an arm, talk about their mama, something to get them to where they ain't standing out there wide open and shooting threes.
Nevada at 8. Give me some more on Nevada.
Let's see here. You got 4 guys in double digits out of their starting 5. So you got a 16-point guy, a 12-point guy, 11-point, and 11-point guy. This is one that kind of jumped off the page to me is they've only played one in their entire season NCAA tournament team. That was Utah State.
Wow.
That was just a 9, and they won. They lost to them twice. Lost to them 80-66 and lost to them 80-62. Other than that, I mean, I'm fixing to tell you a list of teams right here that tells you there's no way. I say no way. Auburn should be able to win this ball game. They've lost to New Mexico, Wyoming, UNLV, South Carolina State, UC Davis, San Diego State, Boise State, San Jose State, and it goes on down the list of states this and states that the quality of opponents they're playing obviously are not up to the level of what Auburn played, and they've lost to them. So Auburn should be well up on this team here.
24-12 mark on the season. Auburn 19-16. We need KO to keep shooting it the way that he is.
Oh yeah.
And there's no part of me that thinks that he's not going to. He had about as poor shooting first half of the opening game of the NIT tournament as I've seen him shoot all year, and then he comes out hot as a firecracker in the second half, and he's retained it. 23 points to lead Auburn in scoring the other night. Freeman with 19. Sway had those 15. Jovic with 12. Here's Keyshawn Hall only getting 9 points, but he picks up 15 rebounds.
Right.
So he's not getting it done offensively in that game, but it's not an effort thing with his 15 rebounds.
That's the piece to me what was the end up scoring the other night? 70-something, 80?
What, Auburn?
Yeah.
91-85.
Okay. That's the piece to me. If he hits, they go for 100. I mean, like this, a team like a Nevada or a Seattle U they played, they completely just blew them off the floor if Hall actually scores too.
Well, and Hall had 39 minutes played in that game, so it's not like he's ever sitting. And then Pettiford with 31 minutes. And both of those guys who have been your leading scorers only go for 9.
Right.
So that means other guys are stepping up, which is kind of what you wanted to see late in the season.
The one ugly piece that showed up to me all year long in Auburn's season showed up again in that ball game is they get up on people and they just let it eat away and eat away. Auburn was up 16 one time, up 14 one time. They would get up in this big lead and it's almost like they just relax.
Well, just not getting stops and then giving up too many open threes.
Yeah.
And when you allow a team that didn't shoot it anywhere near as good as we expected to go 16 of 31 from the three-point arc, that's a problem. That's what kept Seattle in the ball game. Shooting 50+% and knocking down 16 was which was a record for them this year. But Auburn gets a win nonetheless. Had a good lead in the second half. Got a little close. Looks a little closer the final score than it really was.
Yep.
Hope we keep it up, and we'll talk a little bit more about that when we come back here on the Auburn Blitz.
I'm Joseph Dean with Lake Martin Funeral Home and Cremation in Dadeville. We're located at 16797 Highway 280, which is on the corner of 280 and 49 North. With an on-site crematory in Opelika and a cemetery in Tallapoosa County, we are a full-service funeral home. To get in touch with us, feel free to come by or call us, 256-750-0381. And for any other questions, you can visit the website at lakemartinfuneralhome.com.
What's the verdict?
Can't fix your heat pump. Need a new one.
Uh-oh. What are you thinking?
I'm thinking Daikin.
Call on Kevin Kill and Sunshine Heating and Air at 256-825-4849, Central Alabama's premier Daikin dealer.
So what's he thinking?
Oh, he's thinking Daikin.
Daikin, one of the top selling in the world.
Now I'm thinking Daikin.
Daikin. Comfort for life.
Looking to transform your outdoor space? Look no further than Bama Sheds. As a family-owned and operated business, we understand your needs. That's why we offer no credit check, rent-to-own options. Enjoy free delivery and setup within 35 miles of our 4 convenient locations. Whether you need a shed, pole barn, garage, or carport, we've got you covered. Visit our website at BamaSheds.com or call 256-268-8484. Bama Sheds, where quality meets affordability and your outdoor dreams become reality.
Grain and Leaf, located at 6068 Highway 63 South, is Lake Martin's premier boutique-style bottle shop with a unique array of sophistication for everyone. Appropriately named for its exclusive selection of top spirits, wine, and craft beer, Grain and Leaf also has a number of fine cigars for you to choose from. They also carry the full line of Hornsby Farms assorted jellies and pottery. Open 10 to 7 Monday through Saturday and noon to 5 on Sundays, Grain and Leaf is your premier shop in the Lake Martin area.
The all-new Winter Timber is now open. Located right next to the Walmart Market across from the Auburn Mall. If the outdoors is your lifestyle, Winter Timber is your new headquarters. From rifles, ammo, and hunting supplies, camo, and all the outdoor essentials, they've got it in stock and ready for you. Winter Timber is here to serve Auburn, Opelika, and the entire Lake Martin area. And they'll make the drive worth it. For the best selection and the best service in outdoor gear, one name says it all. Winter Timber, the best in outdoor needs.
EnviroCare is the standard in East Central Alabama for all your pest control and termite needs. EnviroCare exclusively offers Centricon termite colony elimination system that is the industry's most effective termite control to protect your home year-round. The EnviroCare team's service is also the standard for our customers. From eliminating home pests to superior termite control, nobody cares like EnviroCare, serving Lake Martin and East Central Alabama.
Lake Martin Mobile Detailing is the #1 auto and boat detailing company in Central Alabama. Don't trust your vehicle or boat to just anybody. Hire the professionals. Top-of-the-line ceramic coating, detailing, gel coat restoration, and paint correction gives you the options to take care of your boat or vehicle the right way. Located on Highway 63, just about 2 miles from Highway 280 in Alexander City, Lake Martin Mobile Detailing will have you riding in style. Call them today at 256-794-2328.
Big wins all year long. Dixie Electric Plumbing and Air once again is giving away concert tickets, race tickets, highly coveted prizes, and more. Want in? Follow Dixie on Facebook to see how to play along.
When you want quality, selection, price, superior financing, and a pain-free buying experience, look no further than Sons Automotive Group of Montgomery and Auburn. Sons of Montgomery offers the best selection of Kias, Chryslers, Dodges, Jeeps, and Ram trucks. Conveniently located on Eastern Boulevard, Sons Ford of Auburn is the region's Ford volume dealer. And when you shop at any Sons location, they will maximize all incentives and financing options for anyone's credit. Whether Kia, Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, or Ram in Montgomery, or Ford in Auburn, Sons Automotive treats you like family because they are family driven.
Welcome back into the Auburn Blitz. A couple of more segments left here today on the program. 256-234-6221. I want to thank all of our great corporate partners, J. Smith Construction and Excavation. 334-531-0199 is their phone number. Sense Green Heating, Cooling, and Insulation, 334-487-3555. And thanks to Glenda Mitchell for being the corporate partner for all of our Auburn Blitz podcasts and Auburn Blitz in general. 334-604-7927. So thanks to those three title sponsors here for Auburn Blitz. What do you call it? What's going on at Auburn today? What's your title for it?
The Underwear Olympics.
Well, Underwear Olympics. That's some big 330-pound defensive linemen and offensive linemen running around in tighty-whities.
That's right.
Checking them out. Gym.
They will have their official, height, weight, wingspan, ankle size, all these different things going on, and they need to be wearing as less clothing as they can to fit in, to get the exact numbers.
Well, okay, let's talk about it for Auburn. That has been a bit of the problem for Auburn for far too long is our inability to compete with some of our key rivals on how many players that we're putting into the NFL year in and year out. I hope that changes under this goalish era, but give me an update on who's got a chance. Who is Auburn players that you think from a physicality and athleticism standpoint that might stand out that maybe didn't stand out during the season?
Well, the ones I was going to tell you that the offensive line, we talked about it all year that they went out and bought guys and tried to put a line together. You got three guys with Lou, Wade, and Wright all got NFL Combine invites and went. And then for them to get to come home and re-show, it just shows me we didn't get the production out of that line that we should have. If you got three guys that have got NFL grades and two of them are probably going to be drafted, if not the third one. That's pretty – I don't know what I want to call it, lazy on Hugh's behalf. If we didn't get a better the money we spent on this line, if we didn't get a better production out of them, something's wrong.
Well, I tend to agree. I can remember the entire offseason talking about how many snaps this team had already taken and, the play that we expected from these guys that were coming in. And we had our moments, but, I'll go back to Jeremiah Wright because I saw so much of him in high school. Played at Selma High. We moved him all over the map while he was during his Auburn career. We'd have him on the defensive line, which is where he started, then moves into offense, back to the defensive line, then back to offense. But he always seemed to be, a positive guy in the locker room. Never heard any really negative stuff coming out about him, and wherever they put him, he was giving the effort. But I think under the right coaching staff and he stay healthy, from what I saw, he's explosive, strong, a road grader.
Well, then
there at the offensive line. If you told me he ended up with multiple years in the NFL based off of what we've seen from him, I wouldn't be shocked.
Well, and the observation is dead on because the stats prove it. He's the highest graded offensive lineman on Auburn's team, period. Run blocking and pass together.
I like him. I like him as an interior lineman. I think he plays with the right motor.
Oh, yeah.
For the NFL. And, I think that there is something to be said for somebody that was willing to get moved all over the place and in today's day and age not bounce around from different schools because you're a little upset with the plans that they have for you.
Yeah, and for people that don't understand like what this pro day thing is all about, why, if you already went to a combine, why would you come back to Auburn? Well, a lot of times it's having to be in your home environment. You get a little bit of that stress off you. You feel more comfortable. You may, where you ran a 4.5 at the combine, you may run a 4.4 at home, because you just feel better. They want to see you. They also get to come see what you played in, talk to your coaches, which a lot of them are gone now, but they get to interview these kids one-on-one where they didn't have a lot of time at that combine stuff. So it is a benefit to come to Auburn and have a pro day. And the second benefit is for the guys that didn't get invited to the NFL combine. They get a chance to step up and say, okay, hey, here's what I got.
And it happens from time to time. I mean, you have these guys that are just workout warriors that turn heads, and people think they.
But you got to, just on a business side of it, you got a lot of teams that's got to fill out practice squads.
Yeah.
And
special teams.
It's not a hard living to go out there and make $200,000, $250,000 a year to be on a practice squad.
Well, and we've seen Auburn players that were good players for Auburn. I'm not saying they were bad players for Auburn, but especially in the secondary.
Yeah.
Get a chance in the NFL after days like today.
Mm-hmm.
And then stay in the league for a long, long time. And so I think Auburn has those pieces. I really do. I don't know how many of them are top round draft picks. I don't think that's there for Auburn, but I think there's some decent picks.
There's two on the list that are projected as top round. They're projecting Keldrick Falk as first round player.
Yeah, he has been. Unfortunately for Auburn, he didn't get the production that we had seen in the past.
I think they spent a lot more time this year because people knew so much about him, double teamed him and put him in spots, ran plays away from him, so didn't give him a lot of opportunity to put the stats up. The one that's really jumping off the page for me that I've done the research on is Keyron Crawford. He was down there as far as draftable, but he was low in the draft, and they are saying that the Senior Bowl for him jumped him way up there. He could be as high as third or fourth round because of the way he played at Senior Bowl.
Well, and that's the reason you go and do it.
Yeah.
Not only the film, the eye in the sky looking down on you while you're in an Auburn uniform, but while you're playing in these all-star events, and
do it at like what you just said. Do it against other all-stars.
Yeah. That does show, and so we'll get an update. We got Brett and Faith over there covering that.
Mm-hmm.
Got practices going on too during this time frame that we'll keep getting updates on, and I'll just throw that out there. Tune in on our podcast mornings, weekdays 8 to 9. Also post-game shows brought to you by Pepper Tree Steaks and Wines, and when we come back, we'll spotlight that sponsor here on the Auburn Blitz.
Mm-hmm.
At Central Alabama Community College, we provide a quality education that will set you up for success. Whether you're pursuing a degree or advancing your career with technical training, CAC offers premier programs at 4 campuses in Alexander City, Childersburg, Prattville, and Talladega. From industrial, electronics to machining, our students are prepared for the workforce or further education. At CAC, you'll enjoy vibrant campus life, exciting athletics, and personalized support, all at an affordable price. Your future starts here at CAC. Apply today.
Bundle your home and auto and save money with State Farm's personal price plan. Contact State Farm agent Ron Carroll today at 256-378-6631 or visit him on Highway 280 in Childersburg. Prices vary by state. Options selected by customer availability, and eligibility may vary.
For air that's cool and clean, call Sensi Green. For air that's cool and clean, care about the air you breathe, call Sensi Green.
Turn to the experts at Sensigreen and find out how to get up to $1,000 in carry or cool cash rebates. Visit Sensigreen.com today to be worry-free when it comes to your home comfort and indoor air quality.
For air that's cool and clean.
EnviroCare is the standard in East Central Alabama for all your pest control and termite needs. EnviroCare exclusively offers Centricon termite colony elimination system that is the industry's most effective termite control to protect your home year-round. The EnviroCare team's service is also the standard for our customers. From eliminating home pests to superior termite control, nobody cares like EnviroCare. Serving Lake Martin and East Central Alabama.
Sign Source is your local vendor for commercial and residential sign manufacturing and installation. We offer all kinds of lighted and non-lighted signage, from retail signs, LED message centers, event banners, vehicle wraps, the whole spectrum. We also offer service and repair on existing signs, as well as retrofitting to LED or installation of outsourced signage. We have the knowledge necessary to fulfill all of your signage needs in the short or long term. Visit signsourcenow.com to get started.
Buying a home or property can be the biggest investment of your life. The Wisdom Firm is licensed to close any property purchase in the entire state of Alabama. The offices on both Bank Creek Drive in Auburn and Highway 49 South at beautiful Lake Martin. The Wisdom Firm has you covered. Give Travis and his team a call at 334-826-0722 or check them out at www.auburnlegal.com for all your real estate closing needs. No representation is made that the quality of legal services is greater than the quality of legal services made by other attorneys.
Folks around these parts have known for a long time that Walls Tire, just a mile past the bridge on Highway 280, is your #1 stop for automotive service and repair. At Walls Tire, you'll always find quality service at a fair price on everything from AC, name brand tires, big or small repairs, routine maintenance, towing, and more. When your car or truck needs to run right, there's one place in the area to go, conveniently located and easy to find. Walls Tire, just a mile past the bridge on Highway 280.
Grain and Leaf, located at 6068 Highway 63 South, is Lake Martin's premier boutique-style bottle shop with a unique array of sophistication for everyone. Appropriately named for its exclusive selection of top spirits, wine, and craft beer, Grain and Leaf also has a number of fine cigars for you to choose from. They also carry the full line of Hornsby Farms assorted jellies and pottery. Open 10 to 7 Monday through Saturday and noon to 5 on Sundays, Grain and Leaf is your premier shop in the Lake Martin area.
Welcome back into the Auburn Blitz. I want to thank our great segment sponsor here, Pepper Tree Steaks and Wines. They've got two great locations, one that's been around for a long time over in Montgomery and now the one in Auburn, both highly successful. They're our post-game sponsor. They sponsor a lot of things Auburn Blitz, so we can't thank them enough. And Jim, you like going in there? I love going in there.
Every time I've been over there, the one that gets me every time is the ribs.
Yeah.
Like, they're the fattest. I don't know. I told Brett one time, just joking around, I don't know what kind of damn cows they're killing, but they're so thick. God almighty.
Beautiful, beautiful cuts of meat over there. Great wine selection. Stop by and see them. Pepper Tree Steaks and Wines in Montgomery and in Auburn. You know, during the break, we were just going back and forth on kind of the conversation that they had in D.C. a couple of weeks ago when Trump had the roundtable discussion. And how all of this is working out with Title IX. And I know you're going to tee me up on some questions right here that you and Andy have talked about in the past. But just to start with that, though, Jim, it is such a wild, wild time for me to believe that as political as everything is, that we wouldn't be hearing more about women's athletics and Olympic-style sports going away in so many colleges based off of NIL, transfer portal money, collectives, and that money not getting positioned around equally because these universities are still accepting that federal money.
Oh, yeah.
Under the Title IX implications, they've just got this collective sitting over on the side. It's wild to me that it's allowed and there's nothing really right now being done about it.
Yeah, I mean, the only thing I've heard out of Trump's mouth from D.C. about the women's sports is he put his foot down and said no more men in women's sports. And I was glad he started at least at that. Now, on the financial side of it, you and I both know we have daughters. We're going to love watching women's sports go on. But we got to figure out a way to help them generate their own money to get it going. Because, yeah, the government's giving them money, but they got to at some point be able to put something back in the pot, too, you know. Because like a stat I brought up to you, women's basketball for Auburn last year was -$5 million. Negative.
What were all of the women's sports, the key women's sports? Like, how big of a loser was softball for Auburn?
I don't have a stat on the official for softball. I mean, I would imagine, because of what I told you, well, you've got 62 mil was the revenue for football last year. 6 mil was the revenue for basketball last year. So that's 68 million. Well, that's 68 million put into these other sports, including the 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 13 women's sports, took us down to we only had a surplus of $2 million. So we lost 60 million there somehow.
Which is the hard part for me to gather. I mean, that's the reason for Title IX to begin with.
Correct.
Equal participation
Sure.
for men and women in sports. It's changed the dynamic of sports here in this country. And you and I, with daughters that care about it, applaud it at this point. If I would have been around, I'm not going to be a hypocrite and say that when it went into effect and say sports like wrestling had to go away and other sports like that, because the participation numbers were going to get swayed one way or another, that I would have liked it then, maybe not, but 50 some odd years later, I do appreciate that it happened. And it's just so wild to me to think that college athletics is not leaning to that, especially these universities that are accepting all of this federal money, that they're going to be allowed to get away with that.
Sure.
What you're saying is, like, to me, Jim, is like, no kidding. We've always known that.
Right.
And if you get rid of Title IX, then a lot of those women's sports are going to go away because they can't sustain them.
Right. And that's,
but that's the reason it was set into place to begin with.
Sure.
And until that law gets changed, it's hard for me to understand how there's so much gray area going on with the NIL and the collectives and things like that that totally disregard that there's that Title IX nugget sitting out there.
Sure. Well, I mean, the whole theory behind the whole thing, you can read up all kind of stuff you want, but it basically says if you got one male sport of football, you got to have the equivalent on the girl side. And that, like I said, that
number of athletes.
Equal number of athletes. And that's a hard thing because when you got a 100-man football, right? Yeah. I mean, that's a big chunk for the guys to start with.
Yeah. And
then you got a 40-man baseball roster. You got 150 guys right there.
That's the reason there's, more women's sports. There's women's soccer where there's not.
Yeah, I mean, you're dealing with
soccer.
At Auburn, women's basketball, women's softball, soccer women, volleyball women, gymnastics women, swimming women, tennis women, golf women, equestrian women, track and field women, cross country women.
The ones that are going to go the quickest are those Olympic sports.
Oh, sure.
The track and field.
Yeah, I mean, because you got to imagine. I mean, I like watching as anybody because I love the speed of it. But you watch it on TV. You don't go to that sport and buy a ticket and sit in the stands unless you're their mama.
Yeah, so it's a loser. And
yeah. Well, I mean, here's another one for you to throw at you. Equestrian. How many times you watched an Auburn horse riding event?
Well, and we're one of the best in the country.
The best. Yeah, the. Yeah.
So
we won the national title. I couldn't tell you how many times.
I don't have a good answer for this one.
Yeah.
And do you sense, I know that you probably paid a lot of attention a couple of weeks ago when Saban and the rest of the crowd was at the round table. Do you sense that there is any movement that the government can step in? And I know Bruce Pearl's been outspoken about this too. Jim, do you feel there's anything that's going to happen in the short term that's going to at least semi-correct what we've got going on now?
That was, we brought up a whole segment about it the other day and sat there. Matter of fact, almost 2 segments talking about the round table. And the thing I left there with was that no, because there weren't any issues brought up that we don't already know about. Yeah. And it's going to take somebody at a higher level to just go ahead and put their foot down and say, okay, I mean, I know the tube side of the toothpaste, but okay, we're just going to take toothpaste away and start over. Or we're going to there's got to be a line drawn in the sand somewhere because this thing's getting deeper and wider by the day.
I agree. I don't know what the president can do.
Yeah.
I don't know what the task force that he's setting in play. I mean,
that was the thing too. We left from the round table.
There's not a single old coach that's getting out of the game that's not outspoken that they're disgusted by the way things are going.
That's what I brought up to Andy. We got 50 invites to that thing the other day. You're talking about Nick Saban, Urban Meyer, the NCAA president, SEC commissioner, NBA commissioner, ESPN chairman, Fox Sports president. I mean, he went down. Tiger Woods was there for, by God, 50 people that was there. And out of all those, the one thing I came up with looking through all the names, no current coaches and no current players. How does this list of 50 talk about what's going on right now and they're not even in it?
They got out of it.
Yeah.
You know that, and the reason they got out of it and the reason they're probably asked to be there is they're willing to go out, and the current coaches, what would it do for our current coaches to go like Butch, who's probably our best right now.
Yeah. I would love.
What good does it do? Even though he's got a lot of leverage with Auburn and he's very confident that we love him, and I hope he knows that, and I think he does. But still, what good does it do for the university for him to be outspoken?
I think it does a great thing for that because it sets it in motion to show a coach's point of view. Yeah. I'm having to deal with this every day. I need this much money, or these kids are going to walk.
I can appreciate though that it's one that just steps away that's in there talking because they can take the pressure off. I mean,
Sure.
You know, Nick Saban has only been out of the game for a couple of years. Him speaking, and it's not like he's been so far removed that he doesn't know how this animal's working. Right?
Well, yeah, no, I'm just saying he knows how the animal works, but it's also a guy in the dirt right now out there digging is a little different than a guy put the shovel up, 2 years ago. I mean, Saban hears about it, but there's a guy actually in the dirt with Hugh Freeze or Alex Goshen, of all those guys. They're in the middle of it right now.
The only thing I know is Jim and I don't have the answers, but we'll be back up here again tomorrow. Andy and I will be here with you on the Auburn Blitz. Tune in.